We know that we can measure change in enthalpy for a reaction by doing a calorimetry experiment. But do we have to measure that change in enthalpy for every reaction that we want to know delta H for? Or is there a way that we might calculate it from tabulated values? When we think about a chemical reaction as a thermodynamic path, the reactants are our initial state and the products are our final state. So the change in any thermodynamic property for the reaction will be the value of that property for the products minus the value of that property for the reactants. Final minus initial. This property could be the enthalpy, the entropy, the Gibbs free energy, the internal energy, the volume, etc., etc. For properties such as the enthalpy, entropy, Gibbs free energy, and internal energy of the system, we cannot measure the absolute value for the products and the absolute value for the reactants. We can only measure the change over some process, like a chemical reaction. So it would seem that if we want to know the change in enthalpy for a reaction, we would have to measure that change. However, if we're clever about this, we can measure the change in enthalpy for a given set of reactions and use those to find the change in enthalpy for any other reaction we're interested in. Not only can we do this for the change in enthalpy, but we can do this for the change in entropy, Gibbs free energy, and internal energy of the reaction. The set of reactions that we choose to measure are formation reactions. A formation reaction is defined as follows. The reaction that forms 1 mole of a substance from the elements in their most stable standard states is called the formation reaction for that substance. So for instance, if I form 1 mole of water as liquid from hydrogen gas and oxygen gas, I will have defined the formation reaction for water liquid. The change in enthalpy for this reaction is called the delta H of formation for water as a liquid. If I do this at 1 bar of pressure, then this is the standard delta H of formation. Notice that H2 gas is the most stable form of hydrogen. Oxygen gas is the most stable form of oxygen. Carbon graphite is the most stable form of carbon. So if I want to write the formation reaction for methane, I would write carbon graphite plus 2 H2 gas forms CH4 gas. The change in enthalpy for this reaction is called the delta H of formation for methane gas. When I look up the delta H of formation for a substance in a table, only the substance that is formed will be listed in the table. It's up to me to remember that the delta H that is quoted is the delta H for the reaction that forms that substance from its elements in their most stable standard states.